international news, and sport. Tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
Good morning and thanks for staying with us on Diamond 80.7 FM in London. This is News Punch, a news and current affairs compilation of topical stories, headlines making the rounds. I am SANNI, ALAUSA, ISSA. Welcome to the program. Here are the headlines trending in the news today. National Assembly commends federal government labor unions for averting strike. Tinubu sends 3 more ministerial nominees to Senate. Reps to probe 6.5 billion naira coastline protection contract in Ondo community. CNG project. Senate asked Tinubu to present supplementary budget. Reps to conduct holistic probe into illegal mining, security challenges in Northwest region. Illegal oil refining, explosion leaves at least 18 people dead in Rivers State. CSU records, Nigerians should thank Atiku for exposing Tinubu, Professor Perogi. Senate bars first-time senators from contesting as Senate President and Deputy Senate President. Iyaloja Fund. Federal government commits 75 billion naira loan to 1.5 million market women. DSS nabs lady who threatened tribunal judge in Kano. Over 270 Nigerians jailed for drug trafficking and others in Ethiopia, says federal government. Naira Marley in police custody over Mohbad's death. Moving on to the foreign scene, 11-year-old boy shoots U.S. teenagers with mother's gun on football field. U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy ousted. India arrests 1,000 people in child marriage crackdown. Libya orders detention of Brussels envoy over corruption charges. Moving on to the world of sport, Arsenal slump to first defeat of season against Lens. Man United risk early Champions League exit after Galatasaray defeat. And those are the major headlines making the rounds today. It was compiled and edited by the Current Affairs Department. My name is SANNI, ALAUSA, ISSA. For sponsorship and advert placement, kindly contact our Sales and Marketing Office on 0912 929 4332 or 0812 828 6078. Up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we discuss some of the topical issues that we brought to you this morning. Do stay tuned.
Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Diamond887FM. Diamond FM, shining supreme.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, they want to kill us. Father, not kill us for Nigeria. Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can a government, how can you hold Indomine? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Diamond Breakfast Show, a news and current affairs production of our newsroom. Thank you for joining me this morning. On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we bring you some of the topical issues that are trending across the country, and an analyst in the house will do justice to that topic. This morning will not be different, as I have with me in the studio Dr. Lami Lekon Yesbe. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, SANNI ALAUSA. I think when I grow up, I want to be like you. I love the beard.
Thank you very much, sir. And welcome to the program. We want to begin with the issue around President Tinubu's certificate from the Chicago State University. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, went to the court to demand for the authentic certificate of the president. And of course, the university has come out with some revelations, and there are a lot of talks about it. We have seen publications from the likes of Professor Farouk Perogi. But first, I want to know, what are your reactions to this? This is not the first time we're having certificate issues. We had it with the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, concerning his whole-level results. Now we're having it with the president's university diploma. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much, SANNI ALAUSA. I greet our dear listeners at home. The truth of the matter is, you see, in Nigeria, we try to run or chase what we call mirage. I think what we should be laying emphasis now is governance and the politics. The governance from the ruling government, the politics, which is the oppositional politics from the oppositional government. If Atiku at this point in time is still chasing whether the certificate of a sitting president is valid, fictitious, or is even available, I think a case has gone through the tribunal to appeal. And from my knowledge of law, you cannot bring another fact that you have not brought up from tribunal to Supreme Court. Supreme Court only want to validate whether the previous judgment is valid or not. You are not to bring another evidence before the Supreme Court. So I think by now, what we should be looking at is whether or not Tinubu is valid to be the president, which was the case that was taken.
But the validity is also dependent on the authenticity of the documents that he presented.
The document has not been presented before the appeal court, before the tribunal, and there is
that he had presented to INEC.
The evidence was not available before the judgment at the tribunal. It was just mere talk that there were no that Tinubu does not have certificate or not. The evidence will just be coming out from the Chicago, the university abroad. You understand? So there were no evidence before the appeal court, and that was why the tribunal.
What do you think this does to the public perception of the president? Because now you have argued that this does not. It appears to be immaterial, but the perception that
he's not immaterial before the Supreme. I'm not preempting what the judgment of the Supreme Court will be, but from precedence, the evidence that were not before the appeal courts, the Supreme Court is only here to give a validity that the judgment of the appeal court is valid or not. So the document that shows whether Tinubu's schooling certificate is fictitious or not were not presented before the appeal before the tribunal. So it may not go through before the Supreme. Now, coming to the personality of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think it still borders to our system. I think these are things INEC should have done before now. If I'm presenting a certificate that I'm contesting to be the president of Nigeria, and the certificate I've presented is whether a BSc certificate or a WAEC certificate, you recall the issue of former president Muhammadu Buhari. The issue of certificates is sprang through about 4 or 5 years. I think INEC should have done all of this before they gave approval that yes, this candidate.
Does it not raise questions about security agencies too, who are also involved in this vetting process? Because what exactly are they vetting if we continue to have this type of issues?
Of course, security agencies can vet, and their vetting or the product of their vetting can still be fictitious. Like I said, it's still bordered on the institution of INEC. I feel INEC can go out. They have this independent power to go as far as United States, as far as diaspora countries, to vet and certify whether a certificate is fictitious or not. If after about 4 years and INEC is still not doing anything like that, I think it's unfortunate that the system is not strong, and it borders to the fact that the Nigerian system, the institutions, is still very weak.
Now the institutions are weak. No, let's ignore for a moment that this may not be admissible anymore. Well, what needs to change in ensuring that we don't have this type? Because the legitimacy, whether we like it or not, the public perception is important. You need the public to legitimize the presidency, that okay, this person deserves to be there. But with these revelations, of course, there's already a dichotomy. Some are saying, okay, since he has the O levels, the minimum requirement is there.
I haven't spoken about the legal part of it. Let's look at the moral part of it. The moral part of it is that if you recall that even aside from the certificate saga, the issue of whether the president is a drug baronista or not is still on ground. So all of this and many more speaks on the personality of who becomes the president of Nigeria. From time immemorial, we had issues like that on the presidency, on the president nature of my president Muhammadu Buhari, even during the president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, even during that of former President Umaru Yar'Adua, who came to say that the election that brought him in is made of Congress. So for all the presidents we have had between 1999 and till date, we always have one issue or the other with respect to their personality. Like I said, it's still bordered on the personality of who become the president of Nigeria. And if we continue to choose or elect whose personality is questionable, it's questionable. Then the place of Nigeria in the countries around the world will also be having clauses or issues.
All right, I still want us to look at the side of the people as we engage that the government, the institutions have to function well. I also want to see what role citizens play. But before then, we'll go on a short commercial break. When we return, the conversation continues.
inú mi o. ọ̀rẹ́ wa ṣé kò sí láburú. inú kíkan yìí ló máa ń yọ mí lẹ́nu. agbẹ́dọ̀ gba ultimate antacid suspension kó o fi kojú ẹ̀. ṣé báyìí náà ló wá lágbára tó ni. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o ultimate antacid suspension ló ń gbàgbára kúrò lọ́wọ́ inú kíkan àti inú tó ń kùn. káyà máa tani láti inú wá. ọgbẹ́ inú tàbí kínú ẹni máa kún àpọ́njù. ultimate antacid suspension ni ó gbẹlura. gbogbo ẹbí ló wúlò fún. ó ń bẹ níwọ̀n 100 ml àti 200 ml. ultimate antacid suspension biomedical limited ló ń ṣe. báyìí padà ò bá sí lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ mẹ́ta kàn sí dókítà rẹ o.
Bubble, yogo, lego. Bubble me, I'm on Banula. I'm on the Ferrari. I'm on Banula. Yogo, say. I'm on Banula. Agba Ferrari. I'm on Banula. I'm magic paper. I'm on Banula. ọmọdé jáfáfá o. Bọ́bọ̀ jogo. Ǹjẹ́ ti rí gbọ́ wípé búbú ni omi wọn tí gbogbo ọmọdé yàn láàyò ó mú wọn jáfáfá ọpọlọ wọn sì jí pépé ó tún wá fún wọn ní àlàáfíà àwọn àgbàlagbà wa ń kọ́ yogo yogurt ni o ògidì ohun mímu tí ó pọ̀ ní vitamins àti probiotics tí ń lé àìsàn jìnnà rere adùn bóbó àti yogo yogurt ń kọ́ má sọ ọmọ ni wọ́n wà ní oríṣiríṣi flavours káàkiri gbogbo ilé ìtajà bobo foods and beverages ló ń ṣe jáde bobo àti yogo yogurt ẹ ti dá mọ̀ nìyẹn o. àfúnni ní okun o.
Do you know that God will be visiting the retirees and senior citizens in the month of October 2023? The Kingdom Project TKP International presents the 15th edition of Retired But Not Tired RBNT Global Seminar 2023 with the theme, Jesus Christ, the Answer to the Challenges of Old Age, on Tuesday 10th October 2023 between the hours of 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. The venue is the UMCATC Chapel, Ajashe Road, Ilorin. Speakers are Pastor Lushola Adebayo, International Director TKP, and Professor Sunday Aderibigbe, a Professor of Community Health at the University of Ilorin. Online streaming will be available via Zoom and TKP online radio station. For more information, please call +234 808 808 5757 or +234 803 36 11009. We hope to see you there, and may God bless you.
The sounds, the vibes, good talking, conversations. You can have it all on Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin. Diamond 88.7 FM, we've got you.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show on Diamond 80.7 FM in Lorry, and we are looking at some of the trending stories across the country. This morning we begin with the story of the certificate saga of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Before we went on break, we had Dr. Lamilekan Yesbit sharing his thoughts on the whole saga. But we have seen the counter argument for and against what this should be, what this should not be. Do you think, for the sake of clarity, that an independent investigation should be carried out? At least let's reach a logical conclusion on this issue.
Of course, we are happy that the Chicago University is also coming forth without prejudice to the fact that the case is against a certain precedent, that they are to make available the evidence, the true certificate issues, and they've been able to clarify it that truly there are issues. And the truth of the matter is to prevent any bad precedents, so that one person who did not go to university, who did not have a WAEC certificate, will just go and photocopy. You will recall the issue of President Buhari, whose file had a NEPA certificate, if you remember. So all of these issues need to be nipped so that we can prevent a future occurrences.
But the university has established that he did go to that school.
But
how do we explain the inconsistencies?
That is what I'm saying.
We also experienced
on the certificate. One of the inconsistencies that they wrote Bola Ahmed Tinubu and female.
Yeah, and also they're also questioning whether the social security number belongs to him.
Yes, belongs to him. So how and if you know these schools abroad, they are always with fact and factual. So for us to having inconsistency, it shows that there's a place of hypocrisy. That is just the conclusion on moral ground. And I think at this point in time, like you rightly mentioned, DSS and INEC should stand up to their function. They should not just come when the issue of maybe there's an issue of cocaine, or there is issue of financial misappropriation. That is when the DSS will now be standing up. DSS should be all around. Then aside from the DSS, I still want to fault INEC for INEC not to have been able to perform their function. And aside from that, all of these candidates went through the primaries of their parties. And I recall there was a time when APC and PDP had primaries. They had to submit all their certificate and document. What is the essence of that submission if they could not go ahead and confirm the authenticity of those certificates? I think all of this should not scale through the primaries, let alone at the level of INEC. And today we have a president whose certificate issue is still going around, and that was how we had that of President Muhammadu Buhari. When do we stop having such issues? And I think it should be nipped at this point in time.
Now, beyond this specific case of President Tinubu, how do you think incidents like this can impact public trust and also the educational credential? Because now it's Chicago State University. In the past, we have had institutions here in the country where there have been a lot of, not just at the presidential level, we also see governors, reps, members come out, and schools are saying, yes, he did attend our school, no, he did not attend our school. What measures could be implemented to ensure that there is a transparency in such matters?
I will cite an example. In University of Ilorin, I think about 4 years ago, during the era of Professor Abdul Karim Agé, he immediately came in, he set up a committee to be headed by a professor, which I won't want to mention his name, that they realize even within the university system, I'm just telling you that even within the university system, where you expect that academic morale, that people that will be teaching other students should have a first class certificate. You see how people who have forged certificates, you will now be wondering how have they been able to get in as a staff into that university. So if we have issues like that in the university setting, then you should not be surprised having it in political setting. I think the only thing that can be used to correct that measure is you'll be having people like that will be bringing fictitious documents, fictitious certificate. I think the institution that is saddled with the responsibility of authenticating whether a certificate is fictitious or not should be up and doing. That is the only way we can go about it.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. Remember that you can join the conversation, and the number to call is 0913 655 6952. 0913 655 6952. You can also send us messages on WhatsApp on 0913 655 6864. We have our first call. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's the name and where are you calling from?
Ibrahim from Gakani.
All right, Mr. Ibrahim, let's have your contribution.
Yes, I commend your analysis in the studio.
Thank you,
I want to contribute on the certificate saga of Mr. President. Hello.
We are listening.
You see, between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, they know each other very well. And the petition filed by former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, I think he has the right to file that petition. But what left is that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to open up what this is not a matter of secrecy. He should open up on this issue of certificate. Supposing he is not hiding something under that certificate. But I think there is much to that certificate. That is my contribution. And they need to claim that certificate. They need to open up for that certificate for us to have a better system. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim, for your contribution. Let's move to our next stories. And we're looking at the recent amendment of the Senate's standing rules, stating that only ranking members can stand for elections and be voted for into the office of the President and Deputy President of the Senate. So this amendment comes in the wake of perceived destabilization attempt and what some consider impeachment move against the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. What are your thoughts, sir?
Thank you very much. The truth is, even in countries where we learned democracy from, in sinner climes, they respect hierarchy. Even in heaven, there's hierarchy in heaven. So for the Senate to have come out to amend the standing rule of the House that only a ranking senator can contest to be the president or the Senate president, I, for one, I'm not seeing it as if it's out of place. The only thing is that, you see, I feel by now they should prioritize what they will be discussing in the National Assembly. That is my own issue. In the period where people are hungry, in the period where the politics eat up, in the period where people can no longer feed 3/3, what is next is talking about whether a ranking senator or whether someone can contest. We are gone with the era of politics. I think what they should be discussing now is governance. How will Tinubu succeed? How will Nigerians have the dividends of democracy? How will the security issues go down? How will the common man feel the impact of governance and the government? That is what I think they should be discussing now. So whether the discussion on ranking senator or not, I think is not out of place. But the period or the timing is what I think is out of place. Like I said, even in heaven, there's hierarchy in heaven.
All right, let's pick this call. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Comrade Ahmed Adeyemi from Ofa.
All right, Comrade Ahmed, let's have your contribution.
Yeah, concerning the certificate saga, I think, it's established in the Constitution. I think Section 47(1)J, that anybody that uses a forged certificate, you understand, should be disqualified. We should establish that for. Then the second part is, you see, when your analyst said it should be that the PDP and the article did not file such disqualification from the PDP. I think, you see, there are so many precedents at the Supreme Court that people have filed relatively new evidences. I can give you one or two. Even Hope in Imo State. It was done. So we should not see these things. The main thing is, I'm not particular about the certificate. I'm particular about the Nigerian people, what they think about the president and what is going on. Because we don't need this kind of controversies in this country. It's making us internationally, and it's a caricature on our part. So I'm disappointed in what is going on in this country. That's my take this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyemi.
Can I quickly respond to that? Yes. The truth of the matter is the case of Ararume and Uzodima that he mentioned, there were evidences that shows that before the tribunal. And it was on that premise the tribunal gave judgment. The Supreme Court only came to validate that judgment. Now, on this case now, they said it in their, they put it down in black and white, that the certificate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a caricatured certificate, but no supporting evidence. Courts will not give judgment based on hearsay. Court will not give judgment based on sympathy. Court will give judgment based on evidence. They wrote it down that this certificate issue. But as at then, when the tribunal gave judgment, Chicago State University have not released this evidence we have on ground. That is what I'm saying. And that is why you see that even people who are guilty eventually became innocent because they cannot provide the evidence.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Yemi Asajo. I'm calling from Ilorin.
All right, Mr. Yemi, let's
The first thing I want to point out here is that our law says before you can prove that a certificate is forged, you must be able to produce the original. How article will do that, I don't know. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I will not join anybody or group to condemn Tinubu, whether his certificate is genuine or not. To me, what a leader has to offer to better the lives of Nigeria is what matters. Can we find any, if we are to search and look for those who have clean records, if we are to go deep into the records of those holding positions presently in Nigeria today, you cannot get up to 10%. 10% of them only 10% of them will pass the test. Now, some who have the certificate cannot even defend it because they bought those certificates with money. Almost all our last presidential candidates are morally bankrupt. You and I know that. What is important is that it has been confirmed that Tinubu attended and graduated from CSU. Atiku's effort will go down the drain. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Because of our time, I would like us to quickly go to the next story. There's a tragic incident that happened in Lagos State recently where a death of a pregnant woman was recorded and 2 children, and of course the driver of a tricycle, because an attempt of a LASMA official to stop a tricycle, and it caused a commotion. We're bringing this issue because we have seen the attitude of law enforcement when they are trying to do commercial motorcyclists, tricyclists, and all of that. And this is causing serious problems because this is a very sad one. The pregnant woman and children and they are all dead. What should be the manner of approach in instances like that, especially in states that have busy traffic like we know in Lagos?
even if not a state with busy traffic, from time immemorial and from experiences, you see that most of these law enforcing agencies, their officers, ranging from VIO, FRSC, even the police, I think they need to be schooled very well, trained very well on how to engage the civil society, the civil people, the societal people. I think they are not. They call, if you go to the police station, they write police is your friend. The same thing civil defense. The same thing FRSC, no VIO, FRSC, Federal Road Safety Corps. No, now I think they need to be trained better, most especially the officers who are on the road. They take this issue as if it's a do or die affairs. They take it as if you must be nabbed. They are not taking it as if we are here so that nobody will commit any offenses. They are not doing it as if we are here so that we can regulate the flow of movement.
So they are not acting like they are protecting the lives of the citizens.
They are not acting like that.
Call before you continue. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Bamidele. I'm calling from Opa.
All right, Mr. Bamidele, what are you contributing
It's
to?
like many Nigerians did not get what Atiku went to court for. On several occasions, the CSU has said Tinubu attended that college. What Atiku went to court for, you can see that he's quiet and his lawyers are quiet. They are studying that judgment. How did he gain admission to that school? Which certificate did he use? That's what he has gone to court for. And there's something there that's out already. I don't want to comment on that because I know Atiku and his lawyers will only expose that when they get to the Supreme Court. Now, coming to issue of certificate in Nigeria, there's no how anybody can be disqualified for certificate in Nigeria because the Constitution says school living certificate, which means primary school living certificate. Until that is amended, this is the problem that will continue. Let them state it. Whether somebody must be a graduate, HND or ND holder, it is then this thing will be clear. Once it is left at the school living certificate, that means primary school. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Let me remodify that. Our last caller. The Constitution says the lowest you can present is the school living certificate, which is primary. Now, if you go ahead and present 3, primary, secondary, university, you must be able to defend the 3.
All of that.
All of that. If you now put one, that's why you see most of these people usually put primary. The one they know they don't have issue. Now, lastly.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Ahmed from Abuja.
All right. Please let's have your contribution briefly.
Yeah, it is very, very unfortunate for Chicago University for not to have been able to keep a record of 1970 to this present decade. For me, I believe the university have failed themselves. And the issue is that you see in Nigeria, Chicago University are not the one to determine who is going to be Nigeria president for us with the issue of certificate. And the fact has remained that it has the school certificate. So it is the school itself that has failed to provide the record of their past students. It's not that Tinubu forged the certificate.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah, all right.
And the last caller said most people don't know what Atiku went to court for, most especially the requesting for the certificate of Tinubu. You see, most schools abroad, it's only in Nigeria that you can gain admission into university. For instance, University of Ilorin, you must present your primary and maybe SSC. SSC could be NECO or WAEC or even NAPTEP. But most schools abroad, because they don't have trust in our educational system, most especially in Nigeria and Africa by extension. Most schools abroad will even give you an exam that most of them jettison some of these exams that you brought in, maybe JAM, WAEC, NECO. The only thing they want to know is your proficiency. Most especially schools that are the UK-based country, maybe whether you are English-speaking personified or not, they will even give you their own exams. So whether Tinubu gain admission into Chicago State University with whatever thing you think, I think Chicago State University have the peremptory right to tell you that we have admit the student into our university with the following criteria. It may not be WAEC, it may not be primary school, it may not be anything.
All right. So we see that this issue, of course, people have reacted. Let's pick this next call first. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Mr. Issa Mohammed.
All right, Mr. Issa.
From Okolowo or not from Okolowo again?
From Budo, yeah, now not from Okolowo, from Budo, yeah. Thank you, sir, my brother. On the issue of certificate, I think it is only in this country we attach so much importance to certificate than even develop a country. Like what the last speaker just said, what Atiku went for is for the whether Tinubu actually attended the university, the admission letter, and other few things. But you see, some of those things, people are saying that because you have been allowed to see what you want to see. I think that should be a plus. We have been allowed, whatever we see there, what is in the public is not one-sided. We all believe that certain things, as even in WAEC, at times people will come and say they want to make correction. We see several of them. It is human. We have even told that Obama too has a certificate problem, which was rectified. Trump has a certificate problem, which was an error. So some of those, apart from the fact that you can no longer present it with the Supreme Court, but then the way we are seeing it, I don't think it's supposed to be so. There is no leader that don't have certificate issue. Most leaders have certificate issue, and it is rectified. There are nothing like shame there. So we have seen it, and whatever we've seen there is a plus to the nation. We have seen it, and we have seen it. We can comment on it. What about those who could not see? Thank you so much. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Let's have your final words, Doctor.
On the issue of the certificate saga, I think when Unilori had issues with Unilori 49, and they took the Unilori 49 took University of Ilorin to court. When the Supreme Court gave the final, the Supreme Court said what Unilori had done to the lecturers is morally right, but legally wrong. So that means there's place of the legal, and there's place of the law, and there's place of moral. On this case, there's place of moral and there's place of the law. What Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is doing on the issue of certificate is morally right, because we need to establish who our leaders is. We need to know whether they are saying the truth, and that is why Nigeria have lost trust in the Nigerian government. When the Nigerian government tells you that rain is draining outside, Nigerians will still have to go and put their hand outside to feel. That is because we have had a lot of lies. One of those lies is presenting a certificate that is questionable. Now, Atiku has done that by telling us that we need to fact check. Now, legally right that I'm talking about now is the tribunal had told us that this person is valid to be the president based on the evidence you have presented. And when going to Supreme Court may not admit any other evidence except the evidence on ground, except you want to spring up another case. So on this case, our leaders, I think at this point in time, we Nigerians, we need to look well before we vote. And the truth of the matter is the state of the nation that we have now may not allow Nigerians to look well, because an hungry man is an angry man, and that is just the truth.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olamide Koyesbi, for coming on the program this morning and sharing your insightful thoughts with us. Thank you, our dear listeners, for contributing and also for tuning in. Until tomorrow, when we bring you another edition of the Diamond Breakfast Show, I am SANNI, ALAUSA, ISSA.
Any money where I get like this, any little change, now enjoyment.
See this, bros. No talk like that, oh. You need to think about your future, especially your health. Because as Abatan they come now for front, plenty cold and Katago full everywhere. Malaria fit follow join. But if you are under a proper health insurance plan, when that time for sickness come, now just cool.